Hey, welcome back everybody to another episode, edition, whatever you want to call it, of Pages Promotions Indie Author Gathering. We're doing this all through the month of June as part of our virtual Facebook book festival. All throughout the month, every day, we're talking to a different author, and we're talking about their writing and their books and their lives in general. So today we are featuring amazing author J.A. Bullen, also known as Jacob. Hey, Jacob.
Hello. How are you doing today?
We're all great. So thanks again for everybody coming in. In this month, we are sharing everybody's books, but we're featuring one specific book as a highlight. And the one that we're featuring for Jacob is Blood and Rain. See, can I do that? There we go. See. So Jacob, if you wouldn't mind, if you could give us a quick synopsis of this title.
Oh, okay. Well, Blood and the Rain is kind of a book that Christian and I came up with together, the overlying concept of it. And she's a huge Buffy fan, and I'm just a fan of pretty much dark fantasy in general. So with Blood and the Rain, it's following Maxwell, a Sin Eater, who is kind of on a mission to eradicate the rest of the original monsters. So original vampire, werewolf, so on and so forth. And it deals a lot with Old Testament lore. Okay. And then he encounters a young woman named Harley who is kind of at war with the supernatural herself. And through that, we kind of build an interesting romance and dark fantasy that takes place in the modern world.
Awesome. Do I understand correctly that this book, and I'm going to hold it up again because we had some new people join, this book it's a standalone, right? So
it's
people
part of a
can
series.
read this separately from the others and not worry about jumping in the middle somewhere?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. That's what I wanted to make sure. Troy, Jean, welcome. Hi.
Hello.
So then we have this, Unbound, which I just finished reading, and I'm horribly delinquent this month. I'm getting out reviews, and I'm really, really sorry about that. But Jacob, if it makes you feel any better, you're not the only one. But I've been doing so much to get this book festival off the ground that I haven't been on top of my reviews. But I got to tell you, this is a great book. Here, I'm going to show this to you again. This is a great book, Unbound. Love this book. This is an awesome Viking epic thing. Can you give us a rundown of the synopsis of this book for us without, spoiling too much?
Without spoiling too much.
Yeah.
The book takes place on it's called the 100 Isles of Vala. It's the last home of the Viking people, so to speak, in my world. And they have forever been at war with the Kresh, which is a native people in the archipelago. And essentially, while trying to kind of keep off threats from the Kresh, they end up finding themselves embroiled in a civil war with the neighboring clan. And it's, how do you put it in words without spoiling? I mean, I deal a lot with
it's your book, Jacob. Come on.
Wow. I do a lot with element bending in the book, but it's Vali's journey in kind of Kresh territory. He's left behind by his people. He has to survive on his own, and he finds friends amongst his enemies.
Okay. Christian, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Now, I'm not as familiar with the other three books, Jacob, as I should be, because, my TBR pile, as I said in a previous video, is 187 books tall. So, Legends, Rise, and Shield, which ones comes first?
It'd be Legends of Valoria.
Okay, so, so here we go. Here's Legends of Valoria. Okay, give us I got the sun there. Give us the synopsis for this one.
10 years ago, there was an invading force that took out the capital city of Highmore. And Alec, being one of the final survivors, becomes a refugee in the neighboring kingdom. While I guess the enemy that wiped out his hometown is coming back in force, and the people are suppressed in their knowledge of it. At the same time, Talia is a priestess who is trying to warn people that this is happening, and she's on a quest to find Alec.
Okay. And then which one is the second one, Shield or Rise?
That'd be Rise.
Okay. So here we go. Rise of, see, the sunshine. There. Rise of the Divine Night. Tell us about this one.
Well,
Want me to read the back?
That'd probably be the better way to go, because
Okay. Because I know that you're not in your home library right now, so
no,
I can help you out here.
didn't for us today.
Follow Talia and friends as they deal with the aftermath of, is it Belias?
Bellius.
Belias and Nemesis attack of the Grand Cathedral. With Merrick dead and Alec out of commission, it's all up to Talia and her remaining allies to defend Valuria from their ever-growing threat of the Forsaken. See, fantasy stuff. This is so fun. So fun. Okay, so the last one, and then we'll get into the real conversation, because this stuff is important. Shield of Arya. Here we go. Sunshine. Sunshine, there we go. So tell me about this one, or do you want me to just read the back for you?
I mean, it's going to be very spoiler heavy is the only problem with it. Each book kind of summarizes the book that came before it. So they're ridden with spoilers is the unfortunate thing. Shield of Vanera deals with kind of the backlash from the ending of the second book, obviously. And essentially, Alec is left questioning his entire mission. He's not even sure if the people he's been fighting for all these years are still his friends. The first chance they get, they kind of cast him aside. And it's more of a kind of a war against the world. And it's just him, Talia, and a few other faithful followers that are left to.
I think you need a Pepsi. Updates available.
Okay. Somehow, can you guys still hear me? Okay, good. I had a small audio glitch there for a second. So, okay, so now we've established Jacob is an awesome fantasy writer. He writes really great descriptive epic fantasy. Before we get into more of his process and his approach to writing, does anybody have any questions for Jacob? Come on, guys. Don't leave me hanging on by myself.
You could do it.
Okay, where can I buy the book so I can have it signed?
Well, we're actually in the process of setting it up on our website now, be www.jabullen.com. It's not live at the moment, but you could always send me a private email and we can work through PayPal that way is how we're doing things at the moment. Unfortunately, Amazon does not allow me to sell signed books. So with BookFest being canceled everywhere at the moment, email is going to be the best bet for a signed copy at this time.
Okay.
Absolutely. And if anybody has any difficulty getting to Jacob directly, you can always get to us through either the Pages Promotions Facebook page or the Summer BookFest Facebook page, and we'll be more than happy to connect you directly with Jacob. So, Jacob, tell us a little bit about your process. Are you first, let's start with plotter and pantser, and then are you a digital or analog writer?
Okay, so first question, plotter or planter? A little bit of both. It depends on the project I'm working on. Some books, they just kind of come to me and I have to just get it out of my head instantly. And then there's others where it's kind of more of a process. I have to definitely make a little web that says, hey, this is going to come first. This is where I'm leading to. This is where I'm going. with Unbound, the process was much more natural. I just sat down, I started writing. To your second question, I'm definitely analog writer. Everything has to be written out first, and then I later put it into the computer.
Okay.
I just, for some reason, for me, if I don't write it in cursive first, I miss half the sentence every time.
Ooh, cursive even, not just printing, but cursive. That's impressive.
I just find it helps slow me down a little bit, lets me get my thoughts out.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember when you came to the 2V studio when we did your episode of Indie Reads TV, you were furiously writing with your son in your arms. But that's pretty awesome. Anybody have any questions for Jacob? Comments? Intrigues? You guys.
I lost audio for a short time there, so I missed part of what was said, but I had a question. Is it all like fantasy stuff that you write?
Primarily, yes. I stick with dark fantasy mostly. Legends of Valoria is going to be more traditional epic fantasy. And then Blood in the Rain and a couple of the new projects I'm working on now are more urban fantasy.
Okay.
So,
And then Unbound is Viking lore.
yes.
So if that's, you know, where your taste lay. Jacob, do you have any ideas? Do you have any ideas, Jacob, about doing other genres or doing crossover genres?
I have a couple other projects that I'm working on, I should say. I have a children's epic that is somewhat in the works, but right now I'm mainly focusing on my dark fantasy and my epic fantasy.
Awesome.
Trying
And
not to line up too many projects without finishing another.
yeah, it's a trap we all get into. I have insider, well, not really insider information because you kind of posted it on Facebook. You're working on book 2 for Unbound, yes?
Correct. 170 pages in now.
Perfect. And is it going to be out? I mean, do you anticipate it coming out this year or next year?
I'd say most likely it's going to be next year. I did complete a book during quarantine, and that's actually tied to a project that I was hoping to work on with you. And then
Okay.
the sequel to Blood in the Rain is ready to go as well. So I already have 2 books that are ready to come out this year. I just can't justify letting a third one out just yet.
Yeah, no, I get that. Absolutely. What's your biggest challenge in writing?
Well, as you're kind of seeing right now, I have a lot of distractions that kind of follow me around wherever I go. But,
Well, 2-footed distractions.
yes.
For those of you who don't know, Jacob is the proud papa of Ashlyn, who is 7.5. Is that right?
Yes.
Almost.
Almost 7. Okay. And Logan is brand new. He's 5 months? 4 months. 4 months. So Jacob, if anybody has any questions about work-life balance, Jacob would be a really good guy to talk to, because not only does he work, but he writes and balances. I was really astounded when I got to see you at the studio when Logan was so little and you were writing and holding Logan simultaneously. Even on my best days, I couldn't do that. So
Well, I mean, he's little. It only takes one hand to hold him.
Chelsea just joined us. Hey, Chelsea, good to have you with us. Hi.
Hey.
So, Chelsea, I know that you are a fantasy fan, and Jacob, we were just talking about his fantasy books. So you might want to check into him and his titles on Facebook. Have you read any of Jacob yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I know that you've been reading crazy lately, so I wasn't sure if Jacob was one of those authors you'd gotten to yet. Awesome. Anybody have any other questions for Jacob? Curiosities about the writing process?
Who do you use for publishing?
Right now, it's just been Amazon.
Okay.
So that's been my go-to for a while. It was CreateSpace before that, but now they're one and the same, essentially.
Yeah, they kind of were before. Now they've
True.
just admitted to it. It's true.
It is
is true. Yes.
So what's your editorial process like, Jacob? How many drafts does it take you before you get a book from first draft complete? Because we know the first draft can take months to years, sometimes decades. But after your first draft is finished and you start that editorial process, how long does it take you, would you say, before you get to publish? And I know this is an average because each book is different, but just give us
Right.
a general understanding.
I want to say from pen to paper to published, Unbound was the fastest at about a year. But I'm
Really?
constantly working on multiple projects at a time. I mean, it's really kind of hard to say that if it took a full year or not, simply because I'm always working on at least 3 projects.
But this is crazy because Unbound is almost 500 pages. And you did that in a year?
Well, I had fun with it.
Well, yeah, I had fun reading it, but that's pretty astounding going through a book of that size in a year. Pretty amazing. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Christian, you work with Jacob, helping him edit, helping him do audiobooks. Can you lend us any insight into his creative craziness without, putting yourself on the divorce roster?
I'm pretty easy going. She's safe.
Well, all I can really say is, we've been together for almost 13 years, and I mean, he just doesn't stop. Like he doesn't even stop when he's sleeping, because that's where a lot of times where he'll wake up and be like, "Babe, I had this really crazy dream and I gotta write it down." And that's kind of how they come to him a lot of times. Or just some small thing will spark that mind that is in that handsome face. I'm sorry.
No, you're allowed.
Yeah. And then it's just it's a, like he said, it's a continuous process, because he has at least 3 going all at one time. And I do my best to keep up, but I cannot keep up with that. And so he gets done with one and it's like an immediate, like, he gives it to me to kind of proofread, just because I've taken some editorial classes, so I have some basic knowledge. I'm not anything great, but I mean, it's at least something to, be decent at. Then it's just a matter of going through and making sure everything lines up and it's all cohesive. And his process and my process are a little different. He's a little quicker. I like to take my time and make sure things are right. And so there's,
Well, that's kind of the inherent function of author versus editor. I mean, you have to kind of work through different approaches and at different speeds. Hey, Logan.
Yeah.
Logan, everybody.
That's my baby.
So darn cute. I'm telling you, babies, ducks, puppies, I'm just a nut. Okay. So what's the easiest part for you, Jacob, when you're writing? What is the thing that comes to you easiest, or the part of the process that you enjoy the most?
Probably visualization. I really enjoy just kind of sitting back and imagining where I'm going to go in a piece and where I want to take my readers. I want to say that's probably my favorite part.
Awesome. So it's the storytelling process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would say it gets a little jumbled when I try to tell it to other people, but
Do you ever use your daughter as a sounding board to like test out your ideas on her? I've met her. She has a very active imagination, so I'm wondering if she can be a foil for you in that way?
Well, a lot of the more adult themes that are kind of underlying in a lot of my work have more or less been my way of explaining things to her that she doesn't otherwise understand.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes to what you're saying in a sense, but it's been more me trying to explain things to her. Like, in essence, why are the Vikings at war with the French? Why, just because they look different or they do things differently, why do they have to be at war all the time?
Awesome.
Been more of a way of explaining things to her.
Yeah, no, it's a great tool. Storytelling has always been a great tool. Anybody have any other questions or inquiries or curiosities for Jacob in his books and his writing? No? Okay then. Jacob, tell us about your current promotion you're running on your books so that everybody can run out and buy them.
Okay. So with all my books, 5 of the 6, I should say, 5 of the 6, I don't have control over the 6th one. 5 of my books I wanted to reduce the price of during the quarantine with COVID-19. And when we were invited to join the virtual book fest, we decided to extend it for the entire length of the book fest.
Right.
So all of my paperbacks are reduced in cost right now. I mean, within 10, 15 cents of what the bare minimum I'm allowed to reduce them to is.
Mm-hmm.
Here later in the month, we'll be releasing all of our ebooks available for free for a total of 5 days.
Awesome.
Wee man needs to get handed off. Sorry, so. He wanted to be free.
Okay, so
so
that promotion is running through the end of the book fest through June 27th then, right?
Yes.
Okay,
After
and
which,
your books can be through Amazon. We can find them there, right?
yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
And if anybody tries to contact me personally, I will still honor the prices for any autographed books that we send out. We just have to charge shipping is all.
Yep. Shipping is an evil. Anybody else? Michael, I know that you write some fantasy work. I was just finishing up the edits on that short story collection we did together. And you had kind of a fantasy story. Do you have any questions for Jacob? Somehow, Michael, I lost your audio. Jacob, if he asked you a question, did anybody else hear Michael's audio?
I only heard like a really fast audio.
Yeah, it sounded like Roadrunner speak to me. I don't know, Michael, if your microphone's working, but we could try it again if you want to, or we can move on, whichever. You can send me a chat if your microphone's not working. I love these ad hoc impromptu things. You never know what you're going to get. It's always a big, surprise adventure. It's so much fun. Okay. Here, Kate, who's being incognito. She sent me a note. So Jacob, here you go. Who are your greatest influences as an author?
I'm a huge
Stephen
fan
King.
of What was that?
What was that, Kristen?
I said Stephen King.
Oh, yeah. Stephen King, Jim Butcher, Rick Riordan. Those are my favorites by far.
Okay, so here's a question. Stephen King is an influencer, but you're not writing horror, you're writing fantasy. What is it about Stephen King's work that influences what you do?
Just has a way with words. Has a way with descriptions and putting you in place with his characters.
Can I add something that is an
Sure, of course.
objective observation? Stephen King is the master of connecting all of his works together, or at least a large chunk of his works together. And that's essentially what Jacob does, because there are some stories that he hasn't released yet, but he has written, but he hasn't like typed out and published. But they like surprisingly they all connect in some way. Like one character is a main character in this one book, but then they pop up in a different story.
Are we talking about the same series though?
As the ones that he's promoted
later on. It's
yeah.
Say that again, Jacob.
There's a book series I have planned. I have quite a bit of it written. It's called the Lunarian Chronicles.
Okay.
And essentially many of my books connect through that series at some point in time. I actually wasn't, Christian was going to out me on that one just yet, but but that is something we have in the works, yes. And Stephen King with the Dark Tower series is amazing through that whole process. It's
okay, awesome. Kate says, yay, Stephen King. I love Stephen King storytelling. So you have a kindred spirit out there. Michael, ready to try your mic again? Go ahead. Yeah, it's still not working. You sound like chipmunks.
Mickey Mouse.
Basically.
Chipmunks. You sound like chipmunks.
It may be a connection issue.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see. What else? So you were talking about storytelling with your daughter. Are there any children's authors that you can sometimes draw inspiration from in your own storytelling? Do you have any kids' books that stick in your head that kind of give you ideas or a flavor for your writing?
I mean, I'm always going to be a huge fan of the Phantom Tollbooth. You know, maybe as I get further into the world beneath the sky, I might delve back more into some of the children's literature that we have.
Okay.
But at this time, it's not really an active project, and I'm focusing more on political and adult themes.
Got it. Kate has another question. She says, when world building, how do you keep track of what you create? Software, workbooks, or do you have your own specific process?
We have a lot of poster boards.
Okay.
I doodle from time to time. I have several notebooks that I've drawn maps in. Honestly, I can't remember much of anything else, so I mean, might as well have that stick in my head. So it's a lot of it I still keep in my head. A lot of it's plotted on my laptop.
Michael.
Okay.
Join the meeting.
Michael, try again. He's trying to call us on the phone. Oh my gosh, technology is so much fun.
I had to get on the phone too, because the laptop kept dying on me.
Let's
You can call a
see.
Zoom meeting on a phone.
Yeah, you can dial in using your landline or your cell phone. You can dial in for the audio portion of it.
Oh,
But for some reason, it's not working. I love technology. Did I mention how much I love technology, you guys? Love it. Okay. Yeah, it looks like, Michael, you're muted on the phone, so I don't know how you do that, but there you go. Okay. Once more, Jacob.
Okay, let's try that. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
there,
There you
Michael,
go.
go! Yay!
Wow. You know,
Okay, go ahead and say what you said before.
yeah, me not speaking in a meeting is a rarity.
I know, I was getting worried.
Okay, well, the fantasy story, there's basically two things. First, I am absolutely certain there is something beyond what we know. Okay? And then there's been time to time where I've wished that I could communicate with my dad who passed in '06.
Mm-hmm.
So I put those two ideas together. and I came up with that story.
Awesome.
That was, I get ideas from just things.
Yeah, like everyday stuff. Does the
Yeah.
same thing work for you, Jacob? Do you pull influences out of real life, or do you just make it all up in your head?
No, I'm definitely influenced by real life.
So what's been the most surprising thing that ended up in one of your books? What's the thing that you went, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd write about that?
That'd be I have 2 projects, right? Well, it's actually 3 projects with Blood in the Rain too that have erotic content, and I do not like that. I'm not a fan of the erotica romance novel. But Christian kind of dared me into doing it, and it just worked. So that was definitely I did not think I'd be doing this, but so I
isn't it crazy how pressure from outside sources can make us motivate that way?
I've never been a fan of people telling me that I can't do something.
Yeah. Troy also writes. Troy also writes erotica, so you guys kind of have that in common as well. He wrote a space opera with erotic scenes in it, so it's definitely.
Yeah, part 2 though that I'm working on now, I don't have that. I don't know. I don't really want it to be that in this one, but since it's part of the 2-book series, I kind of have to.
I ran into the same trouble with Blood in the Rain too. I just kind of slowly toned it down a little bit. Is kind of what my objective's been. So I feel you on that one.
Anybody else have any other questions for Jacob?
With 2 little kids, when do you find time to write?
Who needs to sleep? It's overrated. Well, just a second. It's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
See, 2 little kids. Jacob, if she wants to come in and say hi, she's certainly welcome.
Oh,
we
she
are
was
family friendly.
Yeah.
All righty.
Wait, I came late to the chat. I have a question.
Yeah.
What was your title? What was the titles of your books?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go through them again. Hold on.
Okay.
I put them on the floor, so I have to pick them up again. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Okay. So the one that we're featuring throughout the month of June is Blood in the Rain.
Oh, okay.
And then the first book in the Viking saga, the one I just finished, is Unbound.
I love that cover.
That looks
love the
awesome.
cover.
That looks amazing.
It's so cool. You've got a great artist, Jacob, really. Then in the trilogy is Legends of Valeria.
Valoria, you were
Also
cool.
cool cover. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm deaf in one ear. They taught me how to speak phonetically. Go figure. Then Rise of the Night is book 2 in that trilogy. And then, dun dun dun, this is The Shield of, don't make me get it wrong,
Anira.
Jacob.
Shield of Anira.
Anira. Okay, see, I would have gotten it right, but I wasn't going to take the risk. There you go. So Shield of Anira. So there you go. And then he's got some other stuff coming out shortly. And just because Chelsea came in late, Jacob, can you reiterate your special promotion for the month?
Yes. So we reduced the cost of all of our paperback books because of the quarantine. Then when we were invited to join the virtual book fest, we extended everything through the length of it.
Okay.
And then I will be, if you're an ebook person, which I am not at all, we'll keep everybody updated on the group chat, but we're going to have I think it's 5-day giveaway that we're setting up that you can download the ebooks for free on 5 of my 6 books.
Great.
Awesome. So wait a second. Am I missing one? 5.
Just
I'm
the book
missing the
you don't have
6th
control
one.
That's because I'm ashamed of it.
Okay.
The 6th book I did through a through another publisher, and just I don't enjoy bad mouthing companies or people. So I just
I got
Which
it.
title is that?
one. Yeah, until I can retain all the rights to that one, I just don't talk about it much.
Nope, that's perfectly valid. I would probably do the same thing. Absolutely. Okay, so if that's it for anybody, have any last thingies?
How
'Cause we're
many
coming to the
hours
end.
like a week or per day do you write?
Actually, I usually shoot for a word count. That was one thing that I saw from following Stephen King, is that he tends to try to shoot for so many words. 1,500 to 2,000 is my average in a day. I know yesterday was a special day and we were at 4,200 yesterday, but typically I shoot for 1,500 to 2,000 a day. And if I don't reach it, then it cuts into my sleep.
Okay, so you actually make it a mandate every day to hit that, or you don't get to sleep? Is that how that works?
With few exceptions, yes. So,
Wow.
I-
How did that work when Logan was brand new?
well, I mean, like I said, there are a few exceptions that I make, but I don't know, Christian, you can level me on that one too. I mean, I don't think that was one of them. I have enough projects, I guess, that I bounce back and forth until I've hit my goal for the day.
Okay, so that's not word count per project, that's word count for the day total. So
Yeah.
it might be
When I'm
like
having a struggle-
501 and like 800 and another kind of a thing.
Yes, if I'm struggling with one, I'll just switch to the next.
Got it. Okay.
You'll
Yeah,
be happy
I do
to
the-
know 4,200 for Betrayer is what was written yesterday.
Awesome. That's very exciting. That's book 2, right? Did you just
ma'am.
let that announcement slip on
Well, I know,
purpose?
for the people that tune in, they get something special.
So that's book 2 from Unbound is Prayer. So we're super excited about that. That's going to be fun. All right. Anybody else have anything else before we wrap this up?
So if you write everything out, how are you counting your words?
With Unbound, I'm actually able to keep up enough that I'm typing that one. I'm actually flowing well enough that I haven't had to slow down for it. As I get towards more of the nitty gritty, if I do start to slow down, then yes, everything will get handwritten. I've just been very fortunate with Unbound Part 2. Blood in the Rain 2 is all written out.
Awesome.
I mean, I have an entire filing cabinet just full of book notes that are all sectioned off in folders.
I can't even imagine. I eradicated paper and file cabinets from my life about 15 years ago, and I can't even imagine going back to analog now. Can't even imagine what that would look like.
It's not pretty.
Okay. Okay, anybody have anything else before we wrap this up? No? Okay, so everybody take a look at Jacob's books. We're going to be, as we do with everyone, we're going to have cover images on the Facebook page, the 2020 virtual book festival page through Pages Promotions. You can get there easily. It's an open group. Invite your friends. We have a, what am I calling it? The Indie Box of Wonderment that we're giving away one every Saturday. And that's a collection of between 8 and 12 books every Saturday we're giving away throughout the month of June. That is a collection of signed books by indie authors participating in the event. So it's real easy to enter that contest. All you have to do is share a post from the event page. You don't even have to comment on it. All you have to do is share it. Commenting would be nice, but and then you get into the random drawing, and every Saturday we draw a new name, and we send you this gigantic box of books. So if you like to read, if you like books, if you're just a book hoarder like I am, you're going to want to get in on this. And again, that's all happening exclusively on Facebook, so check it out. And with that, I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we'll be doing this again tomorrow night. Check the Facebook page for the schedule. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.